Hey guys, how are we
What's
doing
up?
tonight?
Not too bad. What did you think of our guest there and Zach?
Well, I don't know. I just saw the last bit of it. Not a lot of confidence in Baker Mayfield. I get that, but you don't need to have confidence in the quarterback position when you have Kevin Stefanski calling your plays. The Vikings with a Kevin Stefanski offense made it to the NFC Championship with Case Keenum and that kind of style of offense. So I don't know if you guys talked about Stefanski a lot, but I think he is
Yeah,
the reason they have the success they have in Cleveland right now for sure.
100%. And he was the last head coach hired in the offseason. So he filled the last head coaching vacancy. But anyway, let's get to our team of the week. And James, I'm going to start with you. And I feel like we could be going down a similar path here, but let's give it a shot.
We could. Team of the week is going to be the Giants. No big surprise there. Tom, I probably stole yours. Either way, we probably stole each other's in a sense. But they finally beat the Eagles from 2014, from when my senior year in high school, I think, and your freshman year of college. So a long time. So it's nice to see them get a W. They're headed in the right upward direction, not the downward direction that we've seen them go in so many years. So Russo, he is getting somewhat of hopefully a little bit enjoyment that we had, Tom, as growing up as Giant fans, seeing the team coming around, start winning again. So hopefully they are on the upward trend for him.
Yeah. Him and I are a very Jekyll and Hyde duo when it comes to talking about the Giants. But Gabe, you are next. Who is your team of the week this week?
Oh, it's a no-brainer. We saw it on Monday night. Not the Chicago Bears.
The Bears?
No, not them. No,
Oh, okay.
well, you could say they were the best team in terms of they helped Minnesota win that game. The Vikings, they were given the win. The Bears look so bad. I don't know how to judge this win from Minnesota. Their defense obviously played well, but that is a high school caliber, like maybe a really good big high school in Texas caliber offense we looked at in Chicago. It's that bad. But the Vikings, without Dalvin Cook stealing the show, seeing how Kirk Cousins kind of responded to the adversity that was given to him with turnovers by Kyle Rudolph, a fumble by Adam Thielen. Well, an interception by Cousins, but was really a Thielen drop that led to the Khalil Mack interception before halftime. Kirk Cousins, I think, was the MVP ultimately of that game for their offense. But yeah, the Vikings now go into a 3-game stretch that are very winnable. They play the Cowboys. And one thing I wanted to mention, I would have liked to talk to your guest before about it, is how the Browns scored 49 points against the Cowboys with that Stefanski offense. And you're looking at a Gary Kubiak offense, which is basically what Stefanski runs, playing the Cowboys this week. So I expect Minnesota to completely tear apart that Cowboy defense.
Robert Rose says, Joe Judge, now we have a coach we can have confidence in. I agree with Robert, and I agree with Gabe on the Minnesota Vikings. I was considering them as well. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots. Why? They destroyed the Baltimore Ravens. No, I'm sorry. They beat the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
This was a swing game for me. I think for New England, it was very important that nobody picked them to win this game. And I mean nobody. They were at home. I mean, they've won the last 2 games all of a sudden. And I think this was a swing game for them in a sense where they could either be kind of like falling off the map, knowing they're probably not going to make the playoffs. Now they're back in the discussion at 4-5. And remember, they still have to play the Jets again. They still have to play Miami again. And they still have to play Buffalo again. So you never know. I mean, this division, you have Miami and you have Buffalo. But as far as wild card spots goes, there's an extra team that's going to make the playoffs this year. And I'm not so confident in teams like the Browns or, in teams even like the Ravens at this point. Like, they're just not the same. The Ravens are not the same team that they were last year. I mean, yes, they probably still make the playoffs as a wild card, but you can never count a Bill Belichick team out. And that's why they're my team of the week. They came together as a team and won this game. So that's my team of the week. Not a very popular opinion here in the New York area, but the facts are the facts. Anyway, Gabe.
I do like it though.
Yeah, you do?
I do.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I try to give credit where credit is due. But anyway, Gabe, congratulations. You have won our quick picks for the second week in a row. You have
bring that up.
Come from down in the basement to basically you've been stomping all of us out lately. What's been cooking in that mind of Gabe Flaten?
I'm telling you guys, it hasn't changed all year. My picks have been very wild. I see your guys. I do the picks last every week, and I see what you guys pick, and I try to be the most opposite of your guys' picks. And you guys often have the more common sense approach to picking games. You go with the favorite most of the time. I've been throwing a lot of I think it was the Arizona game this week. They were the only team that won that you guys out of that pick. So I think we'll recap it in a little bit. But yeah, there's just all these games where I'm stealing that one team that you guys didn't pick, and I think that's the key to success is just being different.
Yeah. As far as the Arizona game goes, I was very back and forth on that game. Originally, I had Arizona down and then switched it back to Buffalo, but I was very impressed with the way Buffalo played the week before. It was hard for me to really pick against them, but I mean, I could very well see Arizona winning that game as well, and they did. And quite frankly, they're a top 5 football team right now, and that's not even an exaggeration. That's a fact at this point in the game, and they're probably going to beat the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. I would strongly advise picking the Cardinals this week. That's just a little foreshadowing there. But Kyle Russo was the Week 10 loser. As you can see, I have surpassed him for second place. I'm very proud of that. I had a good week as well. I was only one game behind Gabe. I was 11-3. Gabe was 12-2. James and Kyle round out the rear at 8-6. But everybody had a good week above 500. Kyle Russo's punishment will be recorded on Friday since he's not here tonight. He will be doing jumping jacks.
Yes, he will.
Filming himself doing jumping jacks while naming the entire Giants 53-man roster. So that should be a lot of fun to see.
Not sure.
But yeah, that's going to be very interesting. And I still hold this to myself. And this is a very humble brag right now. I have hit every single lock over the course of the first 10 weeks. And that record is still going strong. But speaking of that Buffalo Bills, Arizona Cardinals game, is James, I just want to show, in my opinion, the play of the year so far in 2000.
You want me to pull it up for you?
Nope, I got it.
All righty.
Shotgun. Murray out of the pocket. 7 seconds. 6 seconds. Murray heaves it downfield. It is. Oh, it's caught. It is caught. DeAndre Hopkins. Miraculous. It's Murray magic. And DeAndre Hopkins is the man who comes away with it.
He went over the top of Tre'Davious White. Jordan Poyer came in late. He's got Micah Hyde on his back and catches it and possesses it all the way through. Look at those hands. We keep hearing about those 6X gloves that he wears for his large hands. How about how large and strong those hands are? You remember before the snap, I worried about Kyler Murray moving around too much.
You got every possible look and angle that you needed from that catch. Kyler Murray's basically a center fielder throwing it up for grabs, and D-Hop brings it down in triple coverage. Thoughts on this play?
Gabe, go
Best
ahead.
Hail Mary of all time. I would say that might be the best one of all time. When we look at that just the Kyler Murray scramble, running to his left, I mean, almost out of bounds, perfect spiral. Oh my goodness. The throw, it's one of those things where the throw might have been just as good as the catch because that ball couldn't have been put in a better spot for DeAndre Hopkins. It reminded me of that game we used to play in elementary school called Freedom Ball. I don't know if you remember that game. you'd throw it up to the person in the end zone and they jump up and catch it, and it would be the jailbreak. Everybody would get out. It was always a jump ball. But yeah, DeAndre Hopkins, he would have been good at that game. Freedom ball.
Yeah, his final stat line, 7 catches, 127 yards, and 1 touchdown. And the Cardinals now are, thanks to a Hail Mary, in a 3-way tie for first place in the NFC West with the Rams and the Seahawks. So this division is the best in the NFL in a lot of people's minds, but they're starting to beat each other up a lot, where the teams are better than what their record shows. Maybe not for the Seahawks, but I think for the Cardinals, at least, if they don't connect on that Hail Mary, they're 5-4. We're saying they're a middle of the pack type of team, right? Now they're 6-3 heading into Thursday night football. We're sitting here saying, oh, they went from a top 12 to 15 team to a top 5 team really, really fast. And don't get me wrong, Buffalo played a fantastic game. Cole Beasley had over 100 receiving yards. Stephon Diggs had 10-plus catches as well. Both of those guys had a touchdown, James. So, if I'm Buffalo, again, it's a devastating loss. It's a heartbreaking defeat, but I'm not mad at my team for the way they performed.
No, if I'm a Buffalo fan, I wouldn't be mad at my team, and I'll give you my reasons. One, because you played so tight against the Arizona Cardinals. You made it a very interesting game on Sunday. Number 2, everybody thought when Buffalo scored, that's the end. Buffalo won the game. I'm either changing the channel or I can walk away to do whatever I need to get done before the next game. The fact that the Arizona Cardinals came back and won that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's nothing you could have done other than run the clock more and score.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, I don't know. You're throwing it up to a man that had D-Hop that has 6
triple
XLs gloves. His hands are huge.
Yeah.
Nothing you could have done wrong. You're looking good. You beat Seattle. You almost came close to Arizona, but it was a good win. It was a good win in Arizona. Unfortunately, it was a bad loss, just a crushing loss. But you're going to build off of that. You have to remember, you beat Seattle, you almost beat Arizona. Move on to the next week. Continue rolling.
I just wanted to update everybody before we move on to the next game. The Minnesota Timberwolves just selected Anthony Edwards, shooting guard out of Georgia. So I am 1 for 1 now on picks in the 2020 NBA draft. So me and Paul Lombardi did a NBA draft preview video earlier. It's up on YouTube. Make sure to go check it out and subscribe. Smash the like button at Review and Preview Sports. We went on for about an hour and a half previewing tonight's NBA draft, and I think we're going to see a lot of chaos, but congratulations to Anthony Edwards. Well-deserved. Gabe, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, on the NBA draft or on the Bills? On the Bills.
Either or both.
Oh yeah, no, I'll go with the Bills. I not gonna lie, that was totally news to me that the NBA draft was tonight. But let's go to the Bills actually. They are the shootout. Just the fact that these games are shootouts doesn't make me comfortable with how the Bills are going to be come playoff time. The way this team is geared, there's a lot of teams out there right now who play in shootout type styles. You have the Cardinals, you have the Chiefs, the Raiders like shootouts, even the Lions. We were talking about the Lions. The Lions are a team that beat the Cardinals because the Cardinals like to run and gun. And I don't know if that's the kind of style. You're not going to see a Super Bowl matchup be 44-34 like the Bills beat the Seahawks. And just like with the Seahawks, you see all these super talented teams right now that are not playing defense. Or is it that their offense is just so explosive and scores so quick that their defense is trying to play 2-minute defense all the time because other teams are throwing it so much? It's a really weird dynamic with the NFL this year that I haven't really seen before.
That's an interesting light to it there, Gabe. I like your take on that. A couple other games we'll just skim through because they weren't very close. Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati at home 36-10. They have now won 8 straight against the Bengals. Chase Claypool had 2 touchdowns. Juju and Deontay Johnson each had 1 off of Big Ben's 4 TD passes, more than likely comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
And Bengals rookie wide receiver T. Higgins with 115 receiving yards. He continues to shine. The Las Vegas Raiders improve to 6-3, beating their division foe, Denver Broncos, out in the AFC West. Vegas has now won 5 straight home games against Denver. Broncos had 5 turnovers, including 4 interceptions by quarterback Drew Lock. Raiders running back Josh Jacobs plows into the end zone for 2 touchdowns. But now let's get into the Seahawks-Rams game. I want to spend a little time on this. The Rams beat the Seahawks 23-16. They've now won 5 out of their last 6. It did come at the expense of starting left tackle Andrew Whitworth, who will likely miss the next month and a half to 2 months with an MCL. But Russell Wilson, guys, had an awful game. 3 turnovers. Are we really surprised by this result and how this game went into the Rams' favor? Because I'm not at all.
No, because the Seahawks don't have a very strong defense at times. That the Rams just have a very high-powered offense. Also, more of a dumb, confusing play, in my opinion, was, I forget what quarter it was in. Russell Wilson had nearly 20 yards. He could have probably even scored the touchdown in front of him. Green grass. And he decides to throw it across his body, across field for an interception. I don't understand. If you want to be an MVP winner, you're pretty much at the MVP caliber quarterback. If you want to be a winner, you shouldn't be making those plays like that. You should you should know, for being in this league for so long, you should know to just, he had 20 yards in front of him. Get the 20 yards, run out of bounds, you're still good. That's
We've
my
seen
opinion.
this. We've seen this, James and Tom, in like every Seahawks game this year. It comes down to the wire every game they play, because Russell Wilson, for every magical thing he does, he makes a really dumb mistake. And it happened in the Vikings game. It happened in the Cardinals game, where he had a turnover, a pick to Eric Wilson that really should have sealed the game at the time in that Viking game. And then the Cardinals game, he basically handed them like the win at the end, even though he had such a beautiful game outside of his turnovers. It's a weird, it's strange, because he does so much good, yet is capable of making a lot of mistakes. And it's just what you have to deal with when you're a Seahawk fan, it seems like, this year.
Yeah, that's a good point. Seahawks have had a Swiss cheese defense, to say the least. Jamal Adams getting hurt again, so they have not been good at all. And Bobby Wagner, KJ, I mean, those guys could only do so much. But let's talk about the last team in the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers. They fall to the New Orleans Saints 27-13. The Niners have now lost 3 straight games. However, Drew Brees did fracture a couple of ribs and has a collapsed lung. Or did. He's feeling better now, but he will miss some time. And Jameis Winston will start for the next few weeks. And James is shaking his head because he has Drew Brees in fantasy and was unable to successfully claim Jameis Winston this morning. So you had to sign Joe Flacco instead. And now you're sitting here real pissed off at my little brother, who was upstairs laughing at his phone right now that he picked him up.
Yeah, well, I don't think I really went after Jameis Winston.
You would definitely put a claim in for him, though.
I might have. I put in a few claims this week.
You were second on the waiver priority, so I hope to God that you did.
Only because I probably did, but then I probably also rethought it. Only because they like to do that 2 quarterback set.
Mm-hmm.
And to pick up one guy and then, we're going to run Taysom Hill out there the whole entire game, and it'd be like, what the hell? But it hurts to see Drew Brees go down with a collapsed lung and fractured ribs. Not only because he's on my fantasy team, but also for the New Orleans Saints themselves. He was playing some pretty good football before he got injured. I mean, his medical team at home looks pretty good. They look pretty knowledgeable on what they're doing. I don't know if you guys saw the picture he posted, but he seems like his medical team's taking care of him. You guys know
Yeah.
what I'm referring to?
I haven't seen that actually.
Oh, it's the Instagram picture with his
Yeah.
kids looking on.
With
yeah.
his kids.
Oh, that's funny. I love Drew Brees. He's a stand-up dude, but when we look at that hit, it wasn't even a dirty hit. That might be the most concerning thing when you think about the injury was how serious. That's like a car accident type injury. And it was just a clean, in my opinion, it was a clean hit. I know there was a roughing the passer penalty, but it was in the chest, obviously, or in the rib area. And 4 years ago, that isn't a roughing the passer, but he got up and I think he finished that drive too, which is unreal. But with Jameis Winston, I kind of hope now Mike Thomas becomes more of a threat. Mike Thomas hasn't been given a lot of help from Drew Brees simply because Drew Brees can't really air the ball out like he used to be able to.
I think this is a huge opportunity for Jameis Winston on Sunday. He has the ability to, take this Saints team in, and they're going to have a tough game against the Atlanta Falcons. This is a divisional game that's not going to be easy. The Falcons have won 2 games in a row all of a sudden since starting off 1-6. So, it's something to take into consideration now that the Saints on paper, I believe they're the number 1 team in the NFC right now. They're 7-2. They would have the first round bye, and they have the 2 wins over Tampa Bay already, which is really, really key for their division. So they're going to need Winston to ball out, and this is a huge opportunity for him to prove himself that, hey, I could be the quarterback of the future when Breeze is gone. I'm that guy. I'll be a Teddy Bridgewater, but I'll sit behind him, and we'll see what happens. So it'll be very interesting to see another game that featured 2 young quarterbacks this weekend. The Chargers and the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa is now 3-0 in the NFL, and the Dolphins are 6-3 for the first time since 2001 with their 29-21 win off of Justin Herbert. Again, both quarterbacks were impressive, but one's winning and one's not. That's just the simplest way to put it right now.
Yeah, the key to that game was just shutting down Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen had probably what was his least productive game in the last 5 weeks. So that Dolphin defense zeroed in on him. Without Austin Eckler, there's not a lot of weapons on that offense. Justin Herbert, his performance this year with really just one really good receiver is unreal. He wills this team to over 20 points every week. He's spectacular.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Chargers now because they play the Jets this weekend, and looks like Kalen Ballage is going to be starting at running back and getting majority of the touches over rookie Josh Kelly. And Kalen Ballage was on the Jets briefly this year for a game, I believe. So that'll be fun to watch. And if you want to put in a lock this week, you may want to bet on Justin Herbert and the Chargers, especially since Sam Darnold will not be starting.
What's his deal? Why is he injured every week? What's his injury?
Being on the Jets.
He's healed from the AC joint at this point, but it's just really sad to watch the misery of Sam Darnold. I think is it a quad issue? I'm looking it up right now.
It might be a quad issue. All I know is Joe Flacco's starting,
Somewhere.
and the
Knee.
Chargers.
No.
Knee?
No, not knee. Sorry. Ignore that. Keep going.
Okay. Joe Flacco starting for them against the Chargers. I expect the Chargers defense to have a big game. Joe Flacco does fit right now. It seems like fits in at least the game he did play in. I don't know come game 2 if it's going to be the same. I'm sure the Jets fans don't want them to win to keep that number 1 pick. Did you find it yet, Tom? Or
he's out indefinitely with a shoulder injury.
Oh, that's right, because I think he was taken out a few weeks ago because he was landed on his shoulder wrong, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So
this report was updated just 2 days ago. So you could even make the argument, does Sam Darnold even come back this season? Like, is that the last we've seen of him as a New York Jet? Like, potentially at this point, a lot of people are saying Sam Darnold may be in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform next year. We don't know that. But right now, it's looking pretty darn good for number 1 overall. And Hank comments saying, just put Sam Darnold on a real team and save him from Gase. Unfortunately, I think Gase will be gone before Sam Darnold is gone. So we will see what happens. And I'm so glad we did not draft him back in 2018. But I know, Gabe, you talked about your Vikings a lot last night. Actually, before we get there, the New England Patriots beating the Ravens 23-17. The Ravens have now scored fewer than 20 points for the first time in the last 32 games. We talked about the Ravens a couple moments ago. And then the Vikings and the Bears gave Kirk Cousins his first career Monday Night Football win. Congratulations. The Vikings win their third game in a row. And all of a sudden, the Vikings playoffs is not out of the question right now at 4-5. Chicago has now lost 4 straight after a 5-1 start, and they lost Nick Foles, carted off in the final minutes of the game. Now they have Tyler Bray as their new quarterback. And if you want a live reaction of that, please check out Andy Hopper's Brew Party Instagram so that you can see him express his displeasure about the current state of the Chicago Bears.
Not to interrupt, but the Hornets did pick LaMelo Ball.
3 for 3, baby. 3 for 3.
So
Wiseman Warriors, right?
Huh?
James Wiseman.
Yeah,
Warriors.
he went to the Warriors. Yep. So I just wanted to throw that in there before we continued.
Sorry, there's a little competition how long you could go perfect.
That's funny. It's hard. I mean, it was the draft 8 years ago when the Cavs took Anthony Bennett. Who predicted that one? I mean, it's hard with the NBA, probably more than the NFL sometimes. But back to the Bears. Yeah, Andy Hopper. I talked to him on Monday night after the game, and he was shaken up about the loss. I on the other hand was pretty excited. I mean, the Vikings are on the up and up clearly, and it's a team. It was a team win, and the Bears are losing as a team as well. So it's kind of like, well, I would just say it's mostly their offense, but their defense didn't do them a ton of favors in that game either, really. But yeah, you said Nick Foles' injury he was carted off. It's not actually as serious, apparently. Good for him because, or good for me too, because if he's starting quarterback for them, then they're still going to be losing. So he's day to day right now, actually, with like a glute injury, some like weird upper leg injury. I think he just didn't want to get up. I think he didn't want to get up because he just didn't want to play anymore. He was like, I'm done. I just want to go home.
It's definitely frustrating if you're part of that Bears offense. And Andy Hopper commented earlier on the stream that he would like to see Joe Brady become.
If I can find it for everybody. I got it.
Bears' next head coach. So that just the visual evidence right there for you, Gabe. So you can very well see him in your division soon. But let's preview Week 11 here briefly, guys. I know it's a difficult week to really pick games. I mean, you got the Cardinals, Seahawks tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football. Then you got the Titans and the Ravens. You got the Eagles and the Browns. That's not going to be easy. And then you got the Packers at the Colts. And Gabe, I kind of want your insight on this game because this just smells like a loss for Green Bay. I don't see them performing well in this game.
Yeah, your instincts are very correct. I would agree. It's the Colts. They dominated all the NFC North teams thus far this year. And this game, I don't think will be any different for the reason that in this game, Devontae Adams, there's one thing I think the Packers will succeed in. That's Devontae Adams going up against his former nemesis, Xavier Rhodes. I think they'll find luck there, but Aaron Jones hasn't been fully healthy. And this Indianapolis Colts pass rush with DeForest Buckner is lethal. Don't expect them to win this game just by throwing the ball. The Colts still have a very good pass defense. Alan Lazard coming back might help the Packers just a bit. But when you look at how the Colts win games, it's by taking the air out of the ball, by running the ball so well and efficiently. We saw what teams have done by running the ball really well, whether it be Ronald Jones with the Buccaneers or Dalvin Cook with the Vikings. The recipe to beating this Packers team is a healthy dose of the run game so that Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the ball in his hands. And I think Phillip Rivers and Jonathan Taylor are going to keep the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands enough for them to win this game.
I do think Wilkins will get a lot of touches too, and then Nyheim Hines will probably get a piece of the pie. So it's hard for me to trust Jonathan Taylor from a fantasy perspective this week, especially if you're in a PPR league, but I think he's definitely a good desperation flex play if you need somebody in there. But if you have better options, I would still avoid him. Now, I understand the Packers are the worst run defense in football at the moment, but I would still avoid Jonathan Taylor because he's actually been trending down the last 3 weeks. So that'll be very interesting to kind of analyze as, we hit Sunday through that game. What else do we got?
Yeah, I want to add on that. Nyheim Hines. Sorry to interrupt you, Tom. I was going to say Nyheim Hines, I actually think is going to be the guy you want to go to, because when you go back to that Viking game, Dalvin Cook was lethal in the screen game. That passing game for him was where he had almost half of his total yards, it seemed like. So maybe go with Nyheim Hines, a guy who's got more versatility. I think that could be great for them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's a really good point. The Chiefs and the Raiders, I think the Chiefs are going to win that. Although they are on the road, I just can't see the Chiefs being swept by the Raiders, although I do remember a year that the Raiders went 8-8. They were 6-0 in the AFC West, and they still missed the playoffs. So that was fun to analyze. But to me personally, this is my game of the week: the Rams at the Bucks, and I believe that is a Monday Night Football game where Tampa Bay, they're coming off a dominating win against the Carolina Panthers, and the Rams are coming off a really good win against the Seahawks. And this is going to be a tough game for me to break down, but I think the Bucs defense is probably going to help them towards victory. I don't think Brady's numbers are as good this week because the Rams also have a sharp defense, but I could see this game going either way. I think the home field and the Bucs defense is going to help them out big time on Monday night.
I would happen to agree. That Monday night game is going to probably be a shootout.
Yeah, I think the Rams have the edge in this one. If I were to pick a winner right now on the spot, I just think Tom Brady this year in prime time hasn't looked too hot, and the Rams have done pretty well in prime time. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be very fun to watch. And then, of course, I just want to mention a couple of things on the Jets as well. For you Jets fans that are watching, you did claim Gabe's old guard and Pat Elflein off waivers. Just started one game for the Vikings. I mean, I don't even know if he's good enough to start on the Jets. Honestly, Gabe, if you have any comments on good old Pat?
He's washed up, man. He's clearly he's washed up. If he couldn't win his starting job back from Drew Samia, it's a shame. It's a shame, and I really hope in the future we can find two good guards. So it's funny. So they got Pat Elflein, and we have the guy that they didn't want, Dakota Dozier. That's the guy they dumped. So we're just trading our crappy offensive lineman, basically. And we just activated Rich Jones. If you remember Rich Jones, your center from maybe like 2 years ago that you guys traded to us. Brett Jones. Yeah. So we just activated him to the 53-man roster. So maybe we might see him at guard a little more.
He should still be starting at center for us. I don't know why you guys haven't used him much, but I think
we haven't put him in the game once while we've had him. We have not used him.
He should be playing. That's my opinion. Like, he was really good for us. He's a Canadian guy, so he played in the CFL. He's very physical, so he's a little undersized, but I mean, I think better than Pat Elflein. Anyway,
so is Bradbury. Garrett Bradbury is a very undersized center too, and he's been great in the screen game and out in the open space. I think when you see our offensive line, Ezra Cleveland getting really just penetrated on every week, I think we should see more of Jones.
Yeah, no, I agree. Other moves the Jets have made, they released cornerback Pierre Desir, and they place other cornerback Brian Poole on IR with a knee injury. And then their other quarterback, Bless Austin, is still banged up. So I could see the Chargers winning by at least 10 points. And that's being generous, guys. I don't see the Jets being competitive in this game. I think the Jets have about a 50% chance of going 0-16 at this point. I'm not very confident on their chances of getting a win.
Agreed.
I hope there's not a Jets fan in your room, Gabe. Your eyes just gravitated.
No, I was looking for a coin. I was just about to flip a coin and to make this judgment right here. I would trust that. I think that's a fair judgment, 50%. Yeah.
And then speaking of which, one other thing I want to point out this week. So you may have noticed we posted something about Jake Carlock, who is a former Giant who was on our practice squad for a while, Division II player out of LIU, the same school. I actually got to work with Jake Carlock during my time at LIU, interviewed him a couple of times, and great to see a Long Island kid from North Babylon High School who made his way up the ranks and, I know he got cut from the Giants practice squad, signed by the Miami Dolphins, cut again, and then didn't really get any looks this year due to the pandemic. But it's great to see him find a new home in Atlanta. And Jake Carlock holds a special place in my heart because he'll forever be remembered for this play in a preseason game just 1 year ago.
Working it out, the timing with his offensive line.
Webb's pass batted and intercepted. There's a flag on the play, but it was tipped and returned for a touchdown by Jake Carlock, the rookie from Long Island.
Number 65, penalties decline. Result of the play is a touchdown.
How about that from Carlock from LI?
Where's Carlock? Holy smokes. Hey man, I'm just thankful for the opportunity and the ball with my brothers.
Gabe, I can see you smiling from that grin displayed by Pat Shurmur in that locker room celebration.
Yeah, that was funny. Pat Shurmur obviously didn't have a great career in New York, but that was a really nice moment. I'm surprised that man didn't make it on a team sooner with that athleticism at the defensive end position or outside linebacker. That guy had some speed, like a hybrid like pass rusher. I like the way that guy made that play.
He's really good at a lot of things. He was a hybrid type of player for us. He can rush the passer. He can play linebacker. He can play safety, but he wasn't good enough at any of those positions to stick. So what he's been doing, he's really been doing it since he was on the Giants, and the offseason last summer he's getting reps at long snapper. He was our backup long snapper for a while to Zach Diassi, but he didn't stick. So how are you going to make your way in the NFL? Why not try long snapping, especially in a year like this during a pandemic where teams are looking. Yeah.
The Vikings could use a long snapper right now. We just had the worst long snapping performance ever in the last 2 weeks.
You can't spell cutting without cut, as they say. And nothing will compare to Trey Junkin, though. That is a living nightmare for Giants fans still alive 18 years ago to the date where we should have beaten the San Francisco 49ers in that playoff game back in 2002.
Yeah.
That was brutal. But anyway, real feel-good moment there for Jake Carlock. Let's see. Do we have anything else to talk about here? Nope, that's it. No. So, Gabe, James, anything you guys would like to add before we sign off?
It's a fun show tonight, Tom. Brought back some memories of me and you in the studio. I don't know if anybody noticed, but at least on my screen, I'm trying to point it out, but our new R&P logo up on the top corner. Tom made it the other day. Let us know how you like it. We all love it here and from our perspective, so hopefully it looks good from yours. It was a fun show tonight. Gabe, thank you for joining us. I'm really looking forward to Russo's punishment because it gives him some exercise from laying in bed all day doing Zoom classes. And
tweeting off his thumbs all day, too. He's got to give the rest of his body some exercise.
I'm Tom Scavetta saying good evening. You've been watching Review and Preview here on Facebook Live. Good night, everybody.